It's definitely a different culture. I think the first thing that I noticed about them just in my first week there is in Ecuador, they point with their lips, which is really off putting the first time you see it. You know, when you're on the street and you see somebody go, hey, look at that over there. So, you know, that kind of freaked my family out when I first got home and I was still doing it. The people there are awesome. They are so open and so generous. You know, we would have people that would open up their doors and they'd say, hey, come in and eat something. And we'd be like, can we share a message? They'd be like, no, we're Catholic. We don't want to hear your message, but come in and eat something anyway. They were just so hospitable and so open. And I think that was the best thing that I learned about their culture, and the thing that I love the most about the Ecuadorian people is just how generous they were, generous and open with everything. I mean, you would eat lunch at a member's house that just lived in a little bamboo hut, and they would give you everything they had, and they wouldn't even eat lunch because they were giving it to you, everything that they had. And that was really really humbling. Um, as far as annual festivals go, there's a couple of those that we don't have here. I think most people that have heard about Latin America have heard of Carnival, which is in February, and that is a real party. Most of the time, the missionaries aren't even allowed to leave because it's pretty much 3 days of just people throwing water balloons and mud, and they have big cans of silly string that are this big that they spray each other with. So that's a lot of fun, even if you're just watching it from a window. And New Year's there is a huge deal. It's a lot bigger than Christmas. Christmas is usually just like a nice dinner that you have with your family. Maybe you give away some presents. Then people get really, really excited for New Year's. And in Ecuador, they have one of the funnest New Year's traditions that I've ever heard of. They call them monigotes or quemar el viejo. They're basically just big paper mache like mannequins. And they usually make them from like popular movies like Iron Man, The Avengers, or maybe animated movies like Tangled or Frozen. And they usually spend all the month of December making them. Really, really intricate, really detailed. And then on the night of the 31st, they pack them full of explosives, and right as the clock hits 12, they blow them up, which is really fun to watch. Like I said, even if you're just watching from a window, because we weren't allowed to go outside, but literally every single house has at least one monigote out in the street in front of it, just blowing up right at 12 o'clock midnight. And that's something that was really new for me the first time I saw it. In my first area, I was, like I said, in a beach town, and that was right during the New Year's. And it's really traditional in Ecuador to go to the beach whenever there's a vacation. So it just filled up with tourists and with people that were coming from Guayaquil and all over Ecuador. And on New Year's, it was just insane. There were monigotes that were 3 stories high. They were just burning out in the middle of the street. So that was a lot of fun, and it definitely caught me by surprise the first time. People in Ecuador are really poor. I mentioned there are some rich areas, especially in our part of Guayaquil. There are some really nice areas that frankly look just like a neighborhood in the United States. But once you get outside of Guayaquil, once you get into the slums, there's a lot of really, really poor people, a lot of poverty. But I mean, they're people just like us, and they have the same values and the same wants that we do. They just want their family to be happy. They want their family to be provided for. I think as far as etiquette goes, something that kind of caught me by surprise, and this might go for all of Latin America, they're a lot more touchy. If you come into a room, you pretty much have to shake everyone's hand, and when you leave, you have to shake everyone's hand. And that happens always if you're just meeting somebody for the first time, or if you're old friends. If you're coming to a group of people, shake everybody's hands in the groups, and then when you leave, do the same thing. That was something that kind of caught me by surprise. So another interesting thing about Ecuador, probably again similar to most of the rest of South America, most of the people are Catholic, but I would say maybe 1% actually go to church. Most people just say they're Catholic, say they believe in the Bible, say they believe in Jesus Christ, but they never actually go. So it's good because they have a strong faith, a strong tradition in Christianity, but they don't really have any beliefs about what that means. Like if you tell them something about Christ, like, yeah, he has a body of flesh and blood, most of the time they'll just be like, oh yeah, that's great. Because they don't really know. But they do have a lot of faith in Christ, a lot of belief in God. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why the church has been so successful there. Because they're a really faithful people. They have a lot of faith in God. And most of them are Catholics. There are a few Jehovah's Witnesses there that you'll run into every once in a while. A few evangelists that, have their drums and their electric guitars in their churches that are really easy to hear. You'll definitely see a lot of those. But most of the people are just quiet. Most of the people just have, good family values. They believe in the Bible. They believe in a lot of the same things that we do. Just they sometimes have a different way of expressing it.